Tuesday's second video for you. Its first news story is about some journalists who have been released and some have not been released. They appeared at courts today. The second news story is about Jawar Mohammed, viewers. He was in the Netherlands yesterday, and there during his talk he used a word which has become a source of criticism. People are criticizing him. Why did he use this word? Did he use this word for Oromo Liberation Army? Is he calling them thugs, bandits, or bullies? What did he say actually? A third news story is about GERD Ethiopian Renaissance Dam. We know that in coming days, Ethiopia is due to start the third filling of this dam. Before that, Sudan and Egypt, especially Egypt, they're trying to make Ethiopia sign a legally binding agreement about GERD. And reportedly, in the UAE, some talks are due to be held in coming days. Fourth news story is about wheat production in Ethiopia. African Development Bank president is all praise for Ethiopian PM Abiy's government. He says that Ethiopia is producing more and better quality wheat, and he has shared some statistics with us. We have a clip for you of this African Development Bank president. Last, it was very important news story is about Tigray Eritrea tensions. A news source which is seen as backed by Eritrean government has shared a detailed report about ongoing Tigray Eritrea tensions. You can say it's unofficial position of Eritrean government about ongoing tensions. The news source has leveled some allegations against Tigray government that false narratives are being launched in the media against Eritrea, and this policy has some objectives. What are the main points of this report? We'll try to analyze. Firstly, viewers, first news story is about Ethiopian journalists. Several appeared at some courts today. In the previous video, we talked about Tamask and Dassalin and Solomon Shomye, who have been released today on bail, and Jawar Mohammed was also released for 10,000 Ethiopian birrs security bonds. But two other journalists were not released. Yasio Shimalis of Ethioforum and Maskiram Abira, a writer, a teacher, they were taken to a court as well today, but they were not granted bail. They'll reappear at the court on the 13th of June. So some are being released and some are still in detention. And I have been saying that the thousands of other detainees newly arrested are in prison, in police station. We don't know who are they, when will they be released, who is pursuing their cases. Now, second news story is about Jawar's ongoing European tour. He was in Germany, then he traveled to Paris, and yesterday he was in the Netherlands, where there was a very interactive session between Jawar and participants of Ethiopian diaspora community. And there, during his talk, Jawar used a word of Afan Oromo language, which is being seen as a negative word, and it is being said that he used this word for Oromo Liberation Army. Did not name OLA, but the context indicates that he might be referring to OLA. What did he say? He said that Duryes are playing with the lives of innocent people. Duryes in Afan Oromo language means bandits, thugs, bullies. And he mentioned two zones as well. He said Duryes in Guji and Valaga. They are playing with the lives of innocent people. Now, in Valaga, we know that there have been clashes between Amhara groups and Oromo Liberation Army. Amhara Fano militia fighters have also been seen reportedly in Valaga. Fighting between local Amharas and OLA has also been seen. So in Valaga, you can say that there are both groups operating, Amhara and Oromo groups. But in Guji, there are no Amhara militias. Fano is nowhere in Guji. If Duryes are operating both in Guji and Valaga, and Jawar is saying they are Duryes, what does he mean? Is he referring to OLA? It seems that he is referring to OLA when he is saying that Duryes are playing with the lives of innocent people. That is why since last night OLA supporters are criticizing him that he is towing the line of Ethiopian government against Oromo division. Did not name OLA, but the context indicates that perhaps he was referring to OLA. Jawar, I have been saying, will have to be very careful. He'll have to maintain this fine balance between being a peace preacher and not backed by Ethiopian government. Next news story is about Ethiopian dam, GERD, Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam. In coming weeks, Ethiopia will start the third filling of this dam. And last year, before second filling, we saw escalation of tensions between Ethiopia on one side, Sudan, Egypt on the other. Negotiations have been going on for years with the mediation of African Union, US as well, but no agreement could be signed. Egypt wants a legally binding agreement about the operation of this dam. Now, reportedly, UAE is mediating between Ethiopia, Sudan and Egypt. In coming days, negotiations could start in the UAE. Sheikh Shakbut bin Niham is UAE's Minister for Africa. He is leading this initiative. Some Ethiopian, Egyptian, Sudanese officials, they have traveled to the UAE in recent weeks. And in coming weeks, we could see start of talks. Egypt has been issuing statements. We have heard from Al-Sisi that Egypt wants an agreement. And Sudan is in support of UAE's mediation. Ethiopia will have to be part of UAE-led mediation. Why? Because UAE is providing humanitarian assistance to Ethiopia. UAE provided drones, weapons to Ethiopian government as well in their fight, in Ethiopian government's fight against Tigray last year. So Ethiopia will have to be part of this mediation initiative launched by UAE. The talks could start in coming weeks in the UAE. Before the third filling, we'll keep on seeing escalation of tensions, exchange of hot statements by all sides, especially from Egypt and Sudan. Fourthly, viewers, very important news story. African Development Bank president says that Ethiopia is making tremendous progress when it comes to producing wheat and high quality wheat. He has shared some statistics in a talk. He was in Ethiopia, I think, a few days ago. He met with PM Abiy as well. He says that in 2018, Ethiopia started cultivating a particular heat resistant variant of wheat, and it was grown on 5,000 hectares, but now this area has been extended to around 650,000 hectares of land. Ethiopia is producing better quality and more wheat, and Ethiopia is planning to export its wheat in coming years. Take a listen to what he said, then very important last news story about Tigray detentions.
The farmers initially started with 5,000 hectares of these heat-tolerant wheat varieties in 2018. They expanded to 167,000 hectares 2 years later. And by the end of this year, they have expanded it to 400,000 hectares. And I was having lunch with His Excellency Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed of Ethiopia. As I explained to him the 400,000, I was so excited about it. He leaned forward intently towards me. And I was wondering, why was it leaning forward intently towards me? He said, Akin, I was just waiting for you to stop because I wanted to tell you the following. And I quote him. Actually, Ethiopia's wheat production is now on 650,000 hectares. We harvested 2.6 million metric tons of wheat. Ethiopia did not import wheat this year. Next year, we will cultivate 2 million hectares on the wheat. And he concluded, we expect to export at least 1.5 to 2 million metric tons of wheat to Kenya and Djibouti. Incredible, simple.
Lastly, viewers, a news source which is seen as backed by Eritrean government has shared a report about ongoing Tigray-Eritrea tensions. This report focuses on what has happened in recent days. We can say it's unofficial position of Eritrean government. The news source claims that in recent days, some particular false narratives were launched to disrupt Ethiopia-Eritrea unity, and TPLF is behind these narratives. A meeting was held, led by the President Gabriel Mikhail, with the participation of social media, mainstream media, persons, anchors, presenters, and they were given some tasks. And after that, a campaign started. Several false news stories were shared. This news source has shared details of these news stories. Like, first news story was that PM Abiy wants peace, but Eritrea is against peace. Like, Abiy held a meeting with TPLF leaders. He told them that he wanted peace, but Eritrea was opposing it. Third news story was that Abiy held a meeting and he said that if you want to fight for the sea, not against TPLF. And that Demake Mekonnen told Ethiopian parliament that Ethiopia would review Algiers agreement signed decades ago. And some other news stories like Eritrea has attacked Tigray, that Eritrea is shelling Shiraro. This news source claims that all these news stories were false, made up, launched by Tigray-backed journalists and media entities. The purpose of these news stories was to create conflict between Ethiopia and Eritrea, and between Eritrea and neighboring countries. The news source concludes that Tigray has devised a strategy with some main points, like, firstly, Tigray wants to isolate Eritrea. It started war on 4 fronts on Eritrea border, and then it started playing victim, that it was under attack. The purpose was to force Eritrean forces to enter Tigray so that Tigray could tell international community that it was being attacked by Eritrea. The news source claims that Tigray People Liberation Front is after peace and economic progress in Eritrea. It wants to create conflict between Eritrea and neighboring countries, Eritrea and international community, and it wants to create divisions inside Eritrea, between Ethiopia and Eritrea as well. So that is what this news source has claimed. But no word about Eritrean intervention in Tigray. The news source says that from Tigray, rockets were fired on Eritrea on the 13th and probably 17th of November 2020. Rockets were fired and attack was carried out on some Eritrean territories. So that is why Eritrea intervened in self-defense. But we know that from day one of Tigray conflict, Eritrean military was part of offensive on Tigray. That has been confirmed by several independent sources as well. So we cannot say that Tigray attacked Eritrea, Tigray fired rockets. That is why Eritrea intervened to take revenge or to defend itself. The planning was already there between Ethiopian and Eritrean government, between Isaias Afwerki and PM Abiy. And lastly, once again, this news source claims that Ethiopia-Eritrea unity will remain the same. No one can damage the strong Ethiopia-Eritrea relations. That Isaias Afwerki and PM Abiy, they're on the same page. False narratives are being launched to create divisions between the governments of Ethiopia and Eritrea. We shared what they said. It seems to be unofficial position of Eritrean government. Thank you for watching.